When I was a lot younger, one of the places we lived was near to a housing estate called White City.
Mm.
No, it's not that White City, but a White City in Yorkshire.
Okay.
A housing estate. So why was it called White City? Well, all the houses were white, of course, opposed to where we lived, where the houses were all red brick. Right? The white houses were built in the late 1940s and 50s, prefab houses joined together by slabs of pebble dash concrete into a concrete posted frame to build houses after the Second World War. They were meant as a temporary measure to cater for the post-war housing shortage. Many houses were demolished by the war, and these were built to meet the shortfall. Many babies were born after the soldiers had returned.
Yes.
You know, lots of soldiers, lots of babies. And there was a sudden jump in the population,
Mm.
which in turn produced me, a
Hmm.
baby boom.
Beamer. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, these temporary houses were still being used in the early 1900s, in the 1980s, I say,
1980s. Yeah. I was gonna say, yeah.
albeit well past their sell-by date until it became more expensive for the council to maintain them
Yeah.
than their actual property value. And eventually I believe the White City that I lived near was demolished because it just became too much of an eyesore and a white elephant. And I don't know what happened to the land where all the houses were. I don't know. That moved away and I just haven't done. But anyway, we can see that a prefab house has the lifespan of around 30 years and should only be built as an emergency, a stopgap if you like,
Yes.
um, until more permanent structures can be built.
Mm.
So now the question is there a housing crisis in the UK? How bad does it have to get before emergency measures are taken to build a boatload of prefabs around the country to ease the burden? Right? We see that councils are beginning to convert some of their stock into multi-occupancy dwellings for
Mm.
single people, whoever they may be, to pack the people more tightly in high population density areas like the periphery of larger cities, for example.
Yeah.
Seems like some councils in the UK have reached breaking point when it comes to housing stock and are prepared to install prefab estates in their areas. Somehow. Right. What will the housing estates look like? Like the White City I knew, that was full of semi-detached white pebble dash housings? Or will they be more compact, like those trendy shipping container houses that sprang up through, being built by the trendy people in the late 90s?
Mm.
And they decided to have these shipping containers. And well, who can shed a light on this is the company Portakabin,
Mm.
who is in negotiation with Croydon and seven other boroughs in the London area to build temporary housing. They also were in negotiations with other larger cities with chronic homeless problems like Manchester, Birmingham, and even Cardiff.
Mm.
Cardiff. Realised that Cardiff had a big problem. Portakabin, famous for their portaloo and workmen's cabins on
Yeah.
larger building
Use them.
sites.
Yeah.
I think we even had one for English lessons at school.
Yeah.
On,
Well, so someone without the backyard. Yeah.
yeah. But British homeless people don't get their hopes up too high, please. Be careful. Wait.
Yeah.
It is thought that the majority of the homes will accommodate the migrants on boats population.
There we go.
Apparently, brownfield land seems to be the areas most cited for these temporary projects. So near the industrial sites on the outskirts. Hopefully, if all this gets on the ground, the prefabs will not be included in the 1.5 million affordable homes promised by No Brainer Rainer back in the day. So let's see how that one goes. I can't give any guarantees.
Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, this is interesting. I remember the prefabs, the asbestos prefabs in my local area when I was growing up in the 70s. They were nice looking buildings, a lot of them. They had difficulty moving a lot of people out of them because they were ideal. But yeah,
They had
obviously.
nowhere to go.
Yeah, well, that's it. That's it. Yeah, they built the states and that. Um, it's interesting, temporary. Now, I I come from Essex, as people know, or I've mentioned before. We got this place called Jaywick Sands, to be precise, near a place called Clacton. Clacton's quite famous because there's a couple of certain prominent MPs there now. Nigel Farage being one of them. Now, Jaywick has a reputation of being the most impoverished place to live in the UK, which is quite surprising. Well, not really. Now, this Jaywick was originally a holiday resort place where people could have their holiday resort homes. So they were basically basic built places. Yeah, a little bit more than beach huts, but yeah, probably a little bit more substantial than some prefabs. But yeah, what happened? These places then, after the war, obviously there's a house shortage, then became permanent residents. Is Yeah, people were crammed in there. Now, I believe that the population of Jaywick's about 5,000 people, or just under 5,000 people. They've got a little bit of a community going there, but there's been subjects of TV programs. But it gives you an indication of what can happen if you suddenly have emergency accommodation for people. They're thrown into this place with no real future planning of amenities and everything else. It became established as a place with yeah, no real forward planning. Um, no disrespect to the people that live there. They do have a reputation in Essex, and not helped by Channel 5 and other channels that have found the dregs of society who lived there, and they decided to this is represented the people there. But yes, you look at pictures of there. Now we live in a place where there are some low income areas, let's just say. We call them favelas. Yeah. And it's all right to say this, the people that live there, they've got a strong community feeling there. But yes, their amenities and that the housing is very, very basic, almost to the point of, if you're lucky, they've got breeze block buildings. Yeah. Um, so this idea of temporary accommodation, quickly do something for a quick fix. Disregards who you're going to put there. Okay. Um, it's not always the answer. We're still talking 60, 70 years later of a problem area as a direct result of doing this temporary fix. And we have to be you have to be careful doing this. Governments like temporary fixes. Remember, most governments only think 5 years.
Of course,
Yeah,
they may not be the government next time round.
we can hope. Yeah,
Well, the government will always be there, but I mean, it's
yeah,
the same people may not be there.
yeah. I mean, you've got to do forward planning. Okay, we're getting these homeless people here now, wherever they come from. Yeah, I'm not making distinctions here. I mean, okay, that there were some good programs for homeless ex-forces people, where they were doing up properties. I think they're ex-MOD properties,
Mm.
and then yeah, make because these guys got used to living in these. In fact, there's a lot of ex-forces who have said you talk about your your Portakabin cities, not called the Portakabin, yeah, thing. Now these places they're quick fix. But there's a lot of homeless ex-forces people who'd be more than happy to move into them because then you get other people who say, "Oh no, these immigrants, migrants, whatever we want to call them, illegal or otherwise, who say, "Oh, I don't want to live on here, on these floating places or these." Yeah. Well, okay, you got two options. Yeah. But like I say, be very, very careful if you're going to start having temporary accommodation that isn't so temporary. Portakabins have a life on them. I used to have to order them in for sites. Um, you see one that's been to site 3 or 4 or 5 times, despite the best efforts of Portakabin, these things get
Yep,
damaged.
of course.
Yeah, they're not. I don't know. I'd have to look up and see if they've had any modifications done for them for accommodation. Certainly, in the summer they get baking hot. In the winter they get freezing cold. Yeah, I remember that. I used to sit in one in the summer. Yeah, you couldn't open enough windows. Used to get a seat and sometimes sit out the front of it. Do my work there if I could.
Days.
Yeah, and in the winter, yeah, they come with a little fire. This thing hasn't got enough wattage to even fill the space around it, let alone across it. Yeah, um, yeah. I mean, they are what they are. Now, whether they're modified to allow a more suitable accommodation for night night sleeping and things where you're not going to freeze to death, I don't know. Um, Again, the ex-container places, and they have windows cut in. A lot of them look very nice. We've got some places here that are businesses here we've seen, like, but they're for canteens and bicycle repair shops and things like this. Yeah, and yeah, they're very good for the people, their purposes they're made to do. Some companies are now looking at them and they put solar panels and make them as environmentally friendly as they can. Yeah, great. But are they suitable for a long-term fix? They will rust. Yeah. I mean, they're easy enough to replace. Get your forklift truck, bring one out, put another one in. But yeah. So you've got to be careful with these short-term fixes, unless you spend a lot of money up front preparing the land for them to put them on. Yeah, you're going to have to put some sewage system in or some way of cess tanks or whatever else it is. And then you're going to have the people come in there who may or may not respect the area as well. And yeah, I'm my concern is long short term fix for a long term problem. And
I mean, sort of trying to bring this to some sort of conclusion.
yeah,
It's short fixes are for short fixes,
yeah,
and and they should run parallel to a project for a larger,
mm,
lengthier time period.
yeah. However long that may be. Now the problem is you're probably not talking a 5 years fix for the amount of people homeless. This is probably the length of these places, the lifetime of these places. So what's going to happen in the next administration? Even if you've got the same administration take over, the budgets will disappear. They'll go elsewhere. There'll be another crisis. There'll be another issue to take the money away.
Well, that needs to be. I'm sure that you can safeguard like HS2, right?
Yeah,
They kept that going for years and years and
yeah,
years.
yeah,
In fact, I think it's still going.
yeah. They're doing one part of it. Yeah, yeah. But it's
So if they can do that with a project like that, then I'm sure they can with housing. It's just the will. It's the will to do it.
yeah. Well, things get forgotten or go to the back of the priority. Oh, we've got this problem sorted out. We'll jump onto something else. Private companies do it a lot as well. Oh well, we've got this. We fire fault this, and then the managers move or something else, or different priorities happen. Um, it does strike me more and more governments are doing more of a series of firefighting, what we call firefighting, as opposed to yeah working out why the
Digging
fires
the
are
fire
started.
breaks. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right. Digging the
yeah,
fire breaks to get them to before the fire starts.
yeah. Um,
But I
uh,
mean, if a government can waste billions and billions of pounds on a project that's got no chance of getting off the ground, surely they could spend the same money and use the housing, but so as not to affect the housing market, use those houses just for social housing.
yes. Well, this was
Then,
done years.
you know, like it used to be done.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But hang on, you're talking about going back to something that's been done before. That doesn't really do because somebody will pick up on that and oh, you're just repeating what was done in the 1940s, 1950s, if not before. But yeah.
Well, you need to do that.